Let me ask you something personal. What do you believe happens to your body after you fall asleep? Most of us think sleep is just about rest. But what if I told you it's also the moment your body decides how well it will age? Especially after 60, the hours between sunset and sunrise quietly shape your blood sugar, your memory, your energy, and even your risk for diabetes. Yet very few of us ever think about what we do before bed. Tonight's episode isn't about what you eat during the day. It's about what's missing from your bedtime routine. And new research, from Japan to Johns Hopkins, is uncovering something surprising. 5 nighttime habits that seem harmless but could silently be working against your health. To help us understand why, we're joined by someone extraordinary. He's over 100 years old, still walks daily, still teaches, still learns. A living legend in the field of aging, Dr. Kenji Yamato. He believes the choices we make before sleep are just as important as what we do when we're awake. In this episode, we'll break down the 5 most common evening mistakes and what to do instead, so you can sleep better, age stronger, and wake up with more clarity than you thought possible. And trust me, the final one may be the most surprising of all. So stay with us, because how you end your day might just shape how you live the rest of your life. Let's start with the first and perhaps most misunderstood habit of all, one that many people believe helps them sleep but might actually be the reason they don't. Let me share something a bit counterintuitive. You've probably heard the advice, don't eat after 6 p.m. Maybe you've even followed it, thinking it would help with digestion, weight loss, or just better sleep. But what if I told you that skipping your evening meal might actually be working against your health? Especially after 60, when our bodies don't process blood sugar the way they used to, long gaps without food, particularly overnight, can trigger unexpected problems. Here's why. When you stop eating too early, your blood sugar begins to drop through the night. At first, you don't notice it, but the body does, and it sees that drop as a threat. In response, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, to bring your blood sugar back up. It's a survival mechanism, but it comes at a cost. You might wake up in the middle of the night restless or fall into shallow sleep. You may feel foggy in the morning even though you slept 7 hours. Over time, this repeated cortisol spike can lead to insulin resistance, a key factor in prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. I once had a patient, a retired professor. She did everything by the book. Early dinners, no snacks, lights out by 9. But every night around 2 or 3 a.m., she'd wake up for no clear reason, tired, foggy, frustrated. When we looked closer, her blood sugar was dipping too low overnight. The fix? We added a small, gentle snack before bed, a few almonds, a spoonful of plain yogurt, or half a boiled egg. Within a week, her sleep improved. Within a month, her fasting glucose came down. Now, I'm not suggesting a late-night pizza run. This isn't about overeating. It's about nourishing your body at the right time. As we age, stability matters more than restriction. The body thrives on consistency, especially when it comes to blood sugar and sleep. So here's the takeaway. Don't go to bed hungry. If your last meal was early and your sleep feels disrupted, try a small, protein-rich, low-sugar snack about 60 to 90 minutes before bed. It might be just enough to prevent that silent blood sugar dip and support a deeper, more restful night. And ask yourself, have you been waking up tired even after a full night's sleep? Do you get hungry right before bed but ignore it? Maybe it's not about willpower. Maybe your body's asking for support, not punishment. Because sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is to nourish, not restrict. But food is only one part of the equation. What time you fall asleep and how consistently you do it might be just as critical. Let's talk about something most of us overlook: when you go to bed. Not how long you sleep, but when, because your body runs on rhythm. It's called your circadian clock, a 24-hour system that tells your brain when to release hormones, regulate blood sugar, and shift into rest or repair. But here's the catch. When your bedtime changes every night, 9 p.m. one night, midnight the next, sleeping in on Sunday, your body loses that rhythm. And when the rhythm breaks, your metabolism pays the price. Your cortisol, melatonin, and insulin start falling out of sync, which means even if you eat well and exercise, your body becomes less efficient at managing blood sugar. Over time, that can raise your risk of prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. In fact, a 2024 study published in JAMA Network Open tracked older adults with inconsistent sleep schedules. What they found was alarming. Even though these adults got the same total hours of sleep as others, they had a significantly higher risk of developing diabetes. Why? Because the body doesn't just care about how much rest you get, it cares about when you get it. I've seen this firsthand. A client of mine, a retired nurse, slept 7 to 8 hours nightly, but her bedtime shifted constantly. Some nights 10, other nights past 1 a.m. She couldn't understand why she felt so tired in the mornings or why her blood sugar kept creeping up. We didn't change her diet or exercise. We only made one adjustment: fixed bedtime at 10:30 every night. Within 3 weeks, she felt clearer, more energized, and her glucose levels began to stabilize. So here's the big takeaway. Routine is medicine. Pick a bedtime and stick to it, even on weekends. Let your body trust you again. Because a well-timed night of sleep does more than rest your mind, it realigns your entire metabolism. And if you've ever wondered why your energy's low or why you crave carbs at 10 a.m., it might not be about what you ate for breakfast. It might be about when you fell asleep the night before. Let me ask you something simple. Now, let's shift to something even more overlooked. It's not about what you eat or when you sleep, but something much simpler: water. Do you avoid drinking water in the evening just so you won't have to wake up and use the bathroom at night? If yes, you're not alone. A lot of older adults do this, and it seems like a smart move, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Going to bed even mildly dehydrated can quietly affect your blood sugar and your brain. Here's why. When you're low on fluids, your blood becomes slightly thicker. That small change reduces blood flow, especially to critical organs like the brain, liver, and pancreas. And it makes insulin, the hormone that regulates blood sugar, less effective. Over time, this gentle stress can raise your fasting glucose and even increase your risk for insulin resistance. I'll give you an example. A retired carpenter I worked with had rising blood sugar, despite eating clean and staying active. He said, "I'm doing everything right. What am I missing?" The answer? Hydration. He never felt thirsty. He avoided water in the evenings, but his body was quietly running dry. We made one tiny change. He started drinking a small mug of warm herbal tea 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Just enough to rehydrate, not enough to interrupt his sleep. And the result? Better sleep, clearer mornings, and over time, lower blood sugar. So here's your simple takeaway. Don't fear hydration. You don't need to chug a liter of water before bed, but a small glass, a soothing tea, or warm lemon water can make a big difference. Because your body doesn't stop working when you sleep, and neither should your self-care. Let me ask you this. But hydration isn't the only invisible force at night. What you feed your senses, especially your eyes, can change everything. What's the last thing you look at before bed? If your answer is your phone, your tablet, or the TV, you're not alone. For most of us, those late-night scrolls or just one more episode have become part of the wind-down routine. But here's what your body wishes you knew. That tiny screen might be quietly hijacking your hormones and your blood sugar. You see, your body relies on light cues to regulate melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep. But melatonin doesn't just help with sleep. It plays a vital role in blood sugar regulation too. The problem? Blue light, especially from screens, tells your brain it's still daytime. It delays melatonin release, making it harder to fall into deep sleep and harder for your body to manage glucose overnight. One Harvard study found that just one night of exposure to bright light before bed significantly reduced insulin sensitivity the next morning. Just one night. That's how fast your body reacts. I've seen this play out with clients who eat well, move daily, even meditate, but still wake up groggy, craving carbs, or with blood sugar that just won't stabilize. Sometimes the issue isn't what you ate, it's what you watched. So what can you do? Start simple. Turn off screens 60 minutes before bed. Light the lights. Read a physical book. Play soft, calming music. Let your body ease into its natural rhythm. Because rest isn't just sleep, it's the signals you send before sleep. And sometimes the smallest shift, like putting down your phone, can lead to the biggest reset. Let me ask you something you've probably never considered. But sometimes it's not what you see, it's what you carry in your mind. The thoughts you take to bed might matter more than you think. What if your blood sugar isn't just affected by what you eat, but by what you think before bed? Sounds strange, right? But the science is clear. When your mind is racing at night, replaying a stressful conversation, worrying about tomorrow, or scrolling through headlines, it activates your stress response. That means cortisol, the hormone that helps us react in emergencies, stays elevated. And cortisol, in turn, raises blood sugar. Even if you're just lying in bed, eyes closed, trying to relax, your body doesn't know you're safe. It thinks something's wrong. And that quiet mental tension, over time, it chips away at your sleep quality, your energy, and your metabolic health. I once worked with a retired teacher who couldn't figure out why her blood sugar kept climbing. Her diet was perfect, she walked every morning. But each night, she would lie in bed thinking about old regrets, unfinished chores, family issues. Once we added a gentle bedtime routine, a few minutes of stretching, a journal prompt to clear the mental clutter, and soft music, her glucose levels dropped within weeks. Here's the truth. Your mind and your metabolism are connected, deeply. So what can you do? Create a simple wind-down routine. Write down your thoughts. Get them out of your head. Listen to calming music or nature sounds. Do 5 minutes of breathing or light stretching. Light off screens. Lower the lights. Let your nervous system exhale. Let me ask you something you've probably never considered. But sometimes it's not what you see, it's what you carry in your mind. The thoughts you take to bed might matter more than you think. What if your blood sugar isn't just affected by what you eat, but by what you think before bed? Sounds strange, right? But the science is clear. When your mind is racing at night, replaying a stressful conversation, worrying about tomorrow, or scrolling through headlines, it activates your stress response. That means cortisol, the hormone that helps us react in emergencies, stays elevated. And cortisol, in turn, raises blood sugar. Even if you're just lying in bed, eyes closed, trying to relax, your body doesn't know you're safe. It thinks something's wrong. And that quiet mental tension, over time, it chips away at your sleep quality, your energy, and your metabolic health. I once worked with a retired teacher who couldn't figure out why her blood sugar kept climbing. Her diet was perfect, she walked every morning. But each night, she would lie in bed thinking about old regrets, unfinished chores, family issues. Once we added a gentle bedtime routine, a few minutes of stretching, a journal prompt to clear the mental clutter, and soft music, her glucose levels dropped within weeks. Here's the truth. Your mind and your metabolism are connected, deeply. So what can you do? Create a simple wind-down routine. Write down your thoughts. Get them out of your head. Listen to calming music or nature sounds. Do 5 minutes of breathing or light stretching. Light off screens. Lower the lights. Let your nervous system exhale.